Another week, another step in the Moral Recognition Therapy Workbook. This week is step 4, which I had passed in front of my peers. I'm going to go through the essence and stage. I'll explain the progress and what it means. And at the end of it, I'll break it down as to me personally. All right. Step 4 is raising awareness and uncertainty. A person in this stage may lie, cheat, and steal, but they are uncertain if they should. They typically have no long-term goals and usually don't know if there is a different direction that is right for them. They show rapid changing beliefs and a basic uncertainty about other people. They say, I don't know a lot, and sometimes are uncertain whether they should or can change. This stage typically doesn't last long. Their moral judgments are based on pleasing others as well as pleasure, pain, and one of these days. Reciprocity. Anyhow, moving on. Oops. Probably could have found a better spot to do this. The essence of stage 4, step 4. As you become honest, trustworthy, and accepting of reality, you begin to become more aware of many things in your life. Step 4 is all about raising that awareness. Now, reading step 4 in I statements, I must fully assess my present life and become certain of all things that are in my life right now. I must become totally aware of all the things that make up my life. All right. So, this is all the things that are in my life right now. And the work it is there's 168 hours in a week. The assignment of this particular step is to break down and in detail find out where I spend my time, or if you were to choose to do this yourself, where you spend your time. Okay? Now, also, there are 6 major life categories that I've identified in doing this step. I've identified that my physical well-being is important. I've identified my personal development as being important. I've identified nutrition as being important. I've identified as social as being important in my life. My creative, number 5, and work, number 6. So 6 different life categories. For me, they may look different for you if you were to, again, choose to do this. So, in breaking down those 6, I can go into more detail. But now, with those 6 categories, I break those down to how many hours a week out of 168 hours in a week I spend doing those things. I'm going to list them off because that's part of the assignment that I share with my peers in this format. I spend 49 hours sleeping. That seems about average, seems correct. I spend 20 in wellness and recovery and like doing classwork like this, working on myself. I spend 25 hours a week at work, 5 hours in self-improvement and development, 14 hours for content creation, social media and internet. I spend 7.5 hours a week traveling. I spend about 3 hours a day. I called it day prep and getting shit together. I spend 7 hours a week for lunch, 3 hours a week for naps, 21 hours in intentional walking and support recovery based meetings like NACA, Dharma meetings, all recovery meetings, that sort of deal. 8 hours of like gym time or meeting with my fellow allies and peers, and 3 hours of hygiene and self-care. A glaring thing that popped up to me, because your phone gives you these notifications every week of, hey, you spent 6.5 hours on average on your phone and in like usage. So I was like, holy cow, do I actually spend 6.5 or 7 hours or 8 hours a day on my phone? And I'm kind of hoping that podcasts take up a chunk of that time. But at any rate, that was glaring to me. So with me breaking down and all those hours, I was able to account for 165 and a half of the 168 hours in a week, which is pretty good. Now, further in those steps, when I presented that to the group, they take a look at my numbers, and then that's the questioning period of the group, where they'll dissect what I spend my time on, and they're like, well, do you think you should? And this is where they become judgmental for my own good, and maybe they just want to know. So sleep, there was no argument there. They're like, yeah, everybody has to sleep. What did they really question me on? They questioned me on my social media and internet, and I explained, well, I do YouTube videos. I promote addiction recovery and addiction awareness as on my social media platforms like YouTube, like Instagram and Facebook, and just go through it. And to prepare these videos, even though they don't seem like much, actually for me to get the idea, prepare it, shooting the video is the quickest part, but it's the content behind it and writing it out, and then just posting takes time. Everybody else, the intentional walking and meetings at 21 hours for the week, I like to walk around, put in a podcast, or just like actively walking meditation. And they were like, oh, okay, that's cool. So that is the things in my life right now, and then breaking them down, got a little bit more personal, answered the questions. They seemed to think that there was nothing glaring or out of character for how I present myself, that they objected to. So that was cool. Also, for consideration of your time, I'm not going to break down every single category, like the personal development, the nutrition, the work, the physical. I'm not going to break those down. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I did, in fact, have to do that for the group and go through every single one for them. Hey, like I said, this is kind of an intense, life-changing program. It's saving lives. So yes, the details do matter, and following the instructions do matter. The small things end up to be big things. So get the small things right? Makes sense. presented it. I walk out of the room. I come back in. They give me a round of applause. I move on to step 5 next week. So that was my step 4. You know, they seem to be getting a little, like, this step was really kind of interesting because the detail of breaking down a 168-hour work week, or how a 168-hour week, into what you actually do, it brings awareness to you that, oh my gosh, I have this huge chunk of time that is unaccounted for, which may be just mindlessly scrolling through social media or whatever that looks like for you. But to bring that forefront and into the top of your mind of, man, I can do better with my time. Or maybe I book myself so jam-packed, maybe I can create more time for myself. So it was a very, very insightful exercise for me to bring awareness to me as to, you know, if I'm doing the right thing, or if I need to tighten it up or do better, you know. So highly recommended, whether you are in the MRT program or are thinking about it, you know, just do a self-evaluation and figure out what you do with your time. It will serve you well. Till next week when I present step 5. Make it a great day.